have any updates at this point. So I can't update you on that.
Same with Jalen?
Same with Jalen. Yeah, all the guys that got nicked up in the game.
Doug, I know the IR decisions are coming up. Is there anybody?
You have an IRA?
Yeah. But, no, the injured reserve guys, you have a lot of them. Is there anybody that is close, in your estimation, to being active?
Yeah, we got a couple guys that, that we're going to evaluate here in the next couple of weeks. But, Richard Rodgers is one of those guys. He got hurt in preseason, and so he's getting close. Mac Hollins is there. Mike Wallace is going to be, a little bit later because of the lateness of his injury. And then, of course, being on the active is Sproles. Sproles is another one that we're going to continue to monitor each day, each week. And, these guys are doing a heck of a job with their rehab. Obviously, they want to get back out on the field, and we got some time this week to get them ready and see where we're at next week.
Doug, among the running backs, if you look at the group this year compared to last year, LeGarrette last year really gave you a strong, short yardage kind of force kind of guy. Do you think you have that? Are you hoping Josh can be that guy? Where do you think those yards?
I think we have that guy. If you watch and go back and watch the game, I called a few more 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 runs in the game that we converted. And of course, Josh was in the game at the time. Wendell had some tough runs. He had the tough run at the end of the game to ice the game, basically. So we're very comfortable. Corey is another one that can get us those yards. And really, a lot of that starts up front. I thought our offensive line blocked extremely well against a tremendous front against Jacksonville. And I feel real comfortable with, the guys we have back there.
You had mentioned that you hoped this trip would be kind of galvanizing for the team. Are there signs that it was that?
Yeah, I honestly, the way we played for 4 quarters, you saw the enthusiasm, you saw the excitement with the players, the team. Afterwards, we were together for about 2.5 days, really, and it's really good to be able to do that. Now, this is why it was a great trip, great timing for the trip, obviously. And the guys handled their business extremely well, treated it like a business trip, like we always do. We won on the road, in an environment that can be kind of universal both ways, but felt like we had a really good contingency of Eagle fans there that really helped us too.
What was that flight home like?
Long. No, it was great. It was a lot of fun. Guys were relaxed and just sort of talking about plans this week, and I think just having the time off is really, really crucial, and it was a great trip back.
As far as the running backs, back to them for a little bit, was Josh getting the extra touches? Was that a game plan thing or sort of a field thing because he got going early on?
It's some of his game plan, and when Deuce and I look at the run game after Coach Stoutland puts the plan together, Deuce and I will sit down, more Deuce really, and he starts putting who he wants in on certain runs, and Josh had a few more this week, and quite frankly, the second half of the game, we utilized one run scheme, just a couple different formations, and Josh just happened to be the hot hand at the time, and did some nice things. But it's something that we continue to look at each week and try to get all the guys involved if we can.
The argument could be made that right now the second half of your schedule is tougher than the first half. What areas or area do you think you guys need to improve in the most going into the second half of the season?
Well, I think that we have to continue to get better on third down, even though we were pretty good in the game the other day. Red zone efficiency's got to improve in the second half of the season. We got to score more points. I mean, those are things that I take note of, obviously. And as a play caller, I get to control that some, but. And then, defensively, I think our red zone defense is playing extremely well. We're holding teams to 3 and not 7, which is really good. And so we just got to keep improving. We got to get better. Hopefully, we get some guys back healthy, the second half of the season. And we know our division. We got 5 division opponents in the next 8 weeks. And so that's a challenge, but everything's right in front of us.
With the trade deadline coming up tomorrow, do you anticipate moves with the Eagles?
Well, let me say this, that I'm very confident and comfortable with the guys we have. Very confident in those guys, and it's a group. We're constantly looking. If we can add value, if we can add talent anywhere on the team, we're gonna look at that. Howie's gonna look at that, And so, we'll see. We got a little time here these next couple of days, but, if it values the Eagles and helps us win games, we'll see.
How
How the injuries.
How have the injuries played into that?
You gotta look at it a little bit, from an injury standpoint, because we have missed, some guys first part of the season. I don't think that's the sole purpose for, making a move. I think it has to be, one, it has to be the right person, it has to be a good character fit, has to fit what we do offensively. And if it values us and helps us win games, then we'll stay aggressive that way, and that's always been our mindset.
How important is it to have those versatile pieces on the offensive line? V had to play right and left tackle, Isaac had to kick out, Wiz had to play center and left guard. How important is it to have those guys that can move around?
You hit it. That's so important. Lane goes down early in the game, basically first series of the game. He's down. So Big V's in there. Then JP comes out. It's a credit to, one, the player. Then it's a credit to, Coach Stoutland and Eugene and the guys for getting the next guy ready to go each week. It's been sort of impressive to watch that whole thing take shape, because now Isaac's out there playing right tackle, who took no right tackle reps during the week, and he's playing right tackle. Then he has to come back and play left tackle or left guard. Wiz is in the game, so then Big V's in the game and finishes at right tackle. So these guys really, it's important to have flexibility there and versatility there. We know JP's a left tackle. We know Kelsey's a center, right? We know Lane's a right tackle. But to have your next guy, Brandon Brooks is your right guard, but to have those swing guys is so valuable, and it paid off for us in the game.
Follow up on that. Does that impact your play calling at all when you're like, oh my gosh, I got all these?
Early when the new guy comes in, you want to make sure he settles into the game. So you might call a run or two a little bit more, or maybe a quick pass or something like that just to kind of get them settled in, to the speed of the game, get caught up. But after that, man, it's still back on task at hand, and maintaining the same game plan.
Corey Clement had such an impressive out-of-nowhere rookie season last year, and I guess there was some outside expectation that he would take more leaps forward. Considering the injuries that you've had at running back, what have you made of his second season so far?
He's been great. He's been doing everything we've asked him to do. Of course, he was nursing an injury, first part of this season, training camp and all that, and he's bounced back from that, and he's done a great job. Plus, he's playing special teams, so he's a valuable part of what we do, and a huge part of our success a year ago, and obviously this year.
Doug, how are you addressing the turnovers with Wentz? He's had quite a few this year, too, during the game.
Yeah, obviously the ball security thing, that's you can see with his mobility and being able to move the pocket and stuff like that. Yeah, we keep talking about that, and one thing that, yesterday we had the fumble, and then of course he had the pick, but listen, we just keep shooting, man. We keep shooting. It's hard to take away the aggressiveness because you don't want to, but he knows he's got to protect the football. We talk about it, and we'll just keep on it.
Doug, the bye week seems to be coming at the perfect time. How important is it not just for everybody to heal up, but kind of emotionally, mentally, with the way the first half is going, to kind of get away from things for about a week?
I think it's important. Coaches and players, quite frankly. It's this time of the season, it's a great time, obviously to have a break, and everybody can kind of get away and sort of relax, enjoy family, friends, and I'm going to get a chance to go watch our son play college football this weekend, so it's exciting for us. But get away, get rested, get healed. Guys are in here getting treatment. Some guys are traveling, some guys aren't, but it's a good time to be around family.
When we get close to the trade deadline like this, when we get close to the trade deadline, what's your role in that whole process? Does Howie say, here are a few guys we're thinking about, and you look at tape, or does it not get to that point until talks are heavier?
It's hard, because we're game planning and stuff leading up to all this, for us to spend a lot of time evaluating, players and all that. But yeah, Howie and I have been, direct communication, and talking about certain things and scenarios or what this, that, and the other. But if he has a handful of guys, whenever you can find time, you look at them and see if that person fits. So that communication's always there, and it's really been a good process.
Do you bring up
Any,
needs with him?
changes?
What's that?
Do you bring up needs with him? Like if there's a position you think could,
I think one of the things that he and I think we're both on the same page with all that, and we look at our roster, and again, if it's an area that can help us win games in these next 8 weeks, and then hopefully beyond, we're gonna maintain that aggressiveness, and just like we did with Jay, a year ago, and helped us win a championship. So, that's all part of this process.
With respect to the fumble that wasn't by Josh, how do you evaluate that? Did you talk to him about it, say, can't do that in this situation? Did you chalk it up to,
Well, one, it comes down to a little bit of experience. You hate to take, again, aggressiveness away from anybody on the football field, and situations like that, just, we talked to him after that, just say, you don't have to fight sometimes for the extra yardage, just kind of just go down. Now, you also have to be mindful of, in a pile, that's when defenders begin to sort of rip at the ball, and those are all things that he'll learn from, and I was fortunate that the play was overturned in our favor.
How many changes from your standpoint this week? Is it still sort of like a self-scout and then start preparing?
Yeah, we can do a little both. I think we've as a staff, offense, defense, special teams, really go back and can focus on some areas, in the first 8 games that we either struggled in or had success in, learn from it, and come up with a plan as we move forward. I think it's a great couple of days with no real game obviously this weekend, but to be able to look ahead to our next opponent in the Cowboys, and kind of get a feel for them, and put some thoughts on paper, so when the players come back that we can execute and start that process too.
just one more about the running backs. Wendell, didn't have as great a role last season. You went out and brought in some guys in Jay and LeGarrette. Where is he now? I mean, has he kind of grown into a more trustworthy kind of player for you guys?
We have a ton of confidence in Wendell. I've always, you kind of saw what he did in training camp this year. It felt like he was one of those players, and I've been there as a player too, where you're kind of your back's against the wall, and you just come out swinging and see what happens. And he was one of those players this year that had a great training camp, and he's just been a steady player for us, and he's getting better and better. And we got a lot of confidence in him, and ask him to do a lot of stuff, whether it's in protection or the run game, and made a really, the screen was a great play by him, but the offensive line helped there, and then of course the run to ice the game. So this guy's been a valuable part to what we're doing.
Come back to the
Yeah.
Rock.
All right. Oh, last one.
How tough is it with the whole process when you have guys on IR who may or may not come back?
Well, the one thing with that, and is you got time with these guys that come back. You know what I mean? So you don't have to make a decision right away. So you get a chance to kind of see where the injured guys are at in practice and all that, and before you make any kind of decision. So you got a little time. You got a little time there, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Thanks.